What up, guys? The Bench Buddies are back with our NFL season predictions. And in this one, we'll be talking about the last AFC division, the AFC West. And as always, I have my boy Ethan joining me to break down our season predictions. But before we get started, hit that subscribe button down below to be entered into our giveaway at 500 subscribers.
Yep, do that.
And then we'll start it with the Denver Broncos. And this team had a lot of departures and big splash in free agency really was getting Sean Payton. And I think this is the make or break year for both of these guys, Sean Payton and Russell Wilson. If Wilson struggles and they don't make the playoffs, which I have them finishing 8-9, then you might look at Russ and think, well, they might be looking for a young quarterback this offseason. And maybe even Sean Payton's just a one and done because he couldn't fix it as well. But I did like adding Samaje Perine in case Javonte Williams isn't okay to go, but more than likely he will be. And then Marvin Mims, I think, is an interesting add because this team talked about last year trading one of their three receivers. None of that happened. KJ Hamler now is done. He's done for the year. And Marvin
Mhm.
Mims steps into that wide receiver 3 role behind Sutton and Judy. And I think it's going to be very good for them. And even with Greg Dulcich there, Adam Troutman's a good solid 2. So the big question for them is how is their defense going to be able to hold up against the AFC West? And I think that's where they find their flaws, and that's why the Broncos finish 8-9.
Yeah, I mean, that is a solid point. They did lose two corners last year, really didn't do much to boost the defense in the offseason. However, they did get Javonte Williams back, so you could say that's an addition. I mean, he got hurt the whole year, so I think he's going to have a big year. 11-6. Sean Payton with Russell Wilson, I think, will really be a solid combo, and I think the Broncos are going to play solid football for the first half. 11-6 for the final record. And that week 17 game against the Chargers is really where they will either make the playoffs or miss the playoffs. And as you see, I have the Chargers winning in Denver week 17, which is going to be a crazy game. I have the Chargers winning and the Broncos missing out in the playoffs.
So that means the Kansas City Chiefs will be winning this division.
Obviously, yeah.
Both of us have them going 15-2. Two different losses on the schedule. Yours are both on the road in different parts, and obviously mine are both on the road as well.
Yep.
And this team, well, it doesn't really matter who they lost. I mean, yes, maybe Chris Jones could not be playing until week 8 or after week 8 if he holds out, which, maybe there might be another loss sprinkled in there before then. But it's just hard to bet against Kansas City coming off a Super Bowl. I think week 1 against the Lions is just in lock. Super Bowl winning teams the next year don't lose week 1 at home in, primetime game, first game of the year. And,
Yeah.
losing Juju and Mecole Hardman, it does suck a little bit, but they got Justin Ross back and he's looking pretty good. Rashee Rice is looking good. Travis Kelce is still in his prime. And as long as those guys stay healthy, as long as the receiver room can stay healthy, like Kadarius Toney, then I don't see this Chiefs team really stumbling a lot. And don't forget about Isaiah Pacheco. This man last year played with a broken thumb in the Super Bowl and still had a really good game.
Yeah, I think Pacheco's really going to take over that number one RB role this year, have a lot more of that carry load. Rashee Rice, good pickup. They need all the receivers they can get because Mahomes likes to throw to everybody. 15-2 record. Obviously, we can't really pick against the Chiefs when you got Mahomes and Andy Reid. Just way too much firepower on offense. And the defense with rookies last year really impressed me, which is the main reason why I have them winning 15 games this year. Because you don't really see that often. But I do think the defense got better, and add that with Mahomes, and you got the best team in the league.
And then you have the Los Angeles Chargers, and this team had a very quiet offseason. And I think that's more in part to them knowing they are a playoff winning team. And, blowing the huge lead last year in the playoffs, Jaguars, is what they are known for going into this season. But I think they look to rewrite the ship this year, going 10-7, just like last year, making the playoffs, getting two big wins at the end of the year to get them into the playoffs. And it should say Quentin Johnston. Don't know why it doesn't there. The rookie that they got. And that's a big name for them because Keenan Allen could be out after this year. And bringing in Eric Kendricks as well is a big add after they lost Kyle Van Noy. So this team just looks to run it back and stay healthy.
Yeah, they're basically just running back with their same team. I do like Eric Kendricks and Quentin Johnson. Really solid wide receiver out of that draft class this year. Really solid pickup, and it's time to go if you're the Chargers here. If they lose that game against Denver, I don't have them doing that, but if they do lose that game and miss out in the playoffs, or even have a first round exit again, Brandon Staley's job could be in serious danger. And I don't think it's going to happen, but there is a lot of pressure in LA this year.
And then the last team of the AFC are the Las Vegas Raiders, and this team made some very questionable decisions before even last year was over, stating that Carr is pretty much done with the Raiders organization. And they lost Matt Collins, which I think was a very sleeper move for the Falcons who picked him up. And then what did they bring in to replace those two guys? They brought in Philip Dorsett and Jacoby Myers, who helped them actually win a game last year by chucking that pass across the middle of the field from the Patriots. And, that's how they won that game. But Jimmy Garoppolo is obviously the biggest name on that list.
Yep.
Replacing not mid, but I think Carr's better quarterback than Jimmy Garoppolo. Garoppolo's been a system quarterback with Kyle Shanahan. You've seen him succeed, but he could prove me wrong this year and be really good. And maybe it is just Garoppolo has that winning factor to him. But adding tight end Michael Mayer into the equation as well, after it should say Darren Waller is gone from that team as well, really helps the tight end position. And he's going to be the guy over the field that he will target a lot because we know Jimmy G, when Kittle was out there, he was his favorite target.
Yeah, he loves his tight ends. I really hope he can find that connection with Devontae Adams. If they do, and Josh Jacobs returns and has a year like he can, then I could see them winning 8, 9 ball games this year. They always have an opportunity to do that if they play solid offensively, because their defense hasn't really been too much of a problem. This year, I have them going 4-13. Just a really tough schedule playing in the AFC West. When Denver, Charger, and KC are all playing for a playoff spot, that leaves a team, unfortunately, losing to them, and that's the Raiders for me. I just don't think they can keep up with any of those offensive weapons.
And then there are my playoff predictions so far. So you have the Jets, Bengals, Jaguars, and Chiefs winning their division, with the Dolphins, Ravens, and Chargers making playoffs.
Yep. And then I got obviously the Bills, Bengals, Jags, and Chiefs winning the division. And then 3-11-6 wild card teams. I have the Pittsburgh Steelers, the New York Jets, and the Los Angeles Chargers.
And that's going to be it for our AFC. Make sure you guys come back for our NFC predictions as well. But until the next time, the Bench Buddies are out.